guys, it's Meredith from the Witty Paper Co. And today I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about watercolor paint. So first things first, let's talk about the 3 different ways that watercolor paint comes. So the first way, and I think probably the most common way, is watercolor paint in tubes. My favorite brands for watercolor paint in tubes are Winsor & Newton and Daniel Smith. Now, price-wise, these can range from about $7 to anywhere near $35. So there's kind of a big gap depending on the brand and the color you choose. One thing I particularly love about the Winsor & Newton ones is that you can buy this smaller 5 milliliter size. The Daniel Smith ones all come in 15 milliliters, and they're absolutely wonderful watercolors, but I really love the option of trying out a new pigment or color in a smaller size. So that way if I don't really care for it, I haven't spent too much and I don't have to use too much space to store it. So one thing I'm going to point out that might seem obvious to anybody who's been painting for a while, but wasn't obvious to me in the beginning, is that you do not work ever directly from the tube with watercolor tubes. What you do is get yourself a palette or a few, and every time you buy a new tube, you just squeeze a little bit of it in and then work from that. Take your brush, add some water, take it into a mixing dish, and then paint with that. You never work directly from the tube. You want to fill a palette with tube watercolors. So that might seem very basic to some of you, but I really didn't know that that was what you were supposed to do in the beginning, and it kept me from tube watercolors for quite some time. So there's a little tip for you. All right, now the second way watercolors come is in pans. These are little watercolor pans. They are tiny little rectangles filled with solid pigment. And usually their color is printed on the side too, just in case you forget. My favorite brand for pan sets is Winsor & Newton. Definitely, Winsor & Newton takes the cake. And pans don't range in price too much. They're usually around $5 to maybe $12, give or take. So they're a bit more economical than tubes can be. And if you're a beginner, they are definitely my #1 recommend. Get yourself a pan set, because this is how I learned. I learned pretty much exclusively on the pan sets. And the reason I think they're so great when you're starting out is that when you're sort of feeling out your watercolor style, you don't really know how much water and how much pigment, you don't know the right ratio yet. And as you're figuring that out, sometimes you can end up wasting a lot of paint, and that's always a bummer, especially when you're using, expensive professional paints. So pans are different because they're so solid, the pigment comes off slowly, layer by layer by layer, and you can still build up the color you like and get vibrancy, but it's harder to waste it. So definitely a great thing to learn on, and great to use all around. All right, and the last way that liquid watercolors come is as liquid watercolors. Now this set is Dr. P.H. Martin, if you didn't catch that. Dr. P.H. Martin set. And I believe it was around $40 for 12 of them, and each bottle is half an ounce, just in case you were wondering. And let's take a minute to talk about these, because they are definitely in a category of their own. They are called liquid watercolors because they are extremely vibrant and concentrated. So when you're using them, you really only take a drop or 2, maybe 3, depending on what you're working on, and you cut it with water and then use that to paint on your paper. You never want to just want to squirt this on the paper or be pouring it out. Never do that, because they are so concentrated, you'll just be wasting paint. It won't give you extra pigment. They are already as concentrated and vibrant as watercolors get. And if you plan to work pretty much with landscapes or fluid flower scenes, if you do all organic type of painting, all your subject matter is organic, then these probably aren't going to be your favorite tool because they tend to add a sort of plasticky quality to nature scenes. They sort of rob them of their realism because they're too vibrant. These vibrancies don't occur very much in nature. So definitely be kind of wary if that's what you paint. Definitely try them if you want to, but don't go crazy. Less is more with these, definitely. And I just want to close by making one general note about all types of watercolor paints, and that is never leave them out in the air because they will harden and they will crack, and it'll be very hard to revive them. Sometimes if you take water you can bring them back to life, but it's definitely hard, and it's kind of a stupid mistake to make because all you have to do is close them or just screw the cap back on, and I've left them out in the past and regretted it. So definitely just take that extra second when you're done painting and just close up your paints. Put caps on, close up the set, whatever you have to do to keep their lives very long for you. Alright guys, well thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to our channel, and if you'd like to see any more of my work, then check out any of the links at the end of this video. Thanks again. Bye!